Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about the power of hearing. What does that mean? Hearing is powerful? Yes, it is. So, for example, you can only make progress in your life if you hear, you know, if you listen to other people, because each one of us is in the center of our own universe from our perspective. And however, ultimate knowledge is not relative. It's absolute everywhere you go. But because we are individuals, because we are elements in this cosmos, and because we have our own perspective of things, not always our perspective will mirror the absolute truth. It could very well be that our perspective is wrong. So, learning is also about listening because we learn more by keeping our ears open to new things with caution because absolute truth exists everywhere in the universe. Regardless of who is the observer, there is a truth. Like, for example, by claiming that the earth is a disk rather than a globe, uh, the absolute truth says the earth is a globe, not a disk, not a flat disk. But from some other people's perspective, it's flat. But there is an absolute truth. So, yes, when we study physics, quantum physics, we learn that just by the act of observing elements in this cosmos, we change the element. When we observe an electron, we change the electron. Each one of us are like particles in the cosmos too. There are elements, and there are diverse kinds of elements. There's the atoms, there's the particles inside the atoms, there is the living forms, right? Some elements are comprised of other elements. So a single element, an atom, or several elements, a table, or several molecules and atoms, a person. But we ourselves are elements too. So one thing that there exists in the universe is multiplicity. There are multiple things everywhere. Okay. Now, and when we look at the stars in heaven, we see all those dots, those bright points of light. These are elements too, right? So you have many, many things out there, and you have lots of things down here too. So it's very interesting. So, but there's also an absolute truth, and there's evolution, and there's progress, and there's learning, and there's listening, and there's teaching. The biggest problem in the universe was one person trying to be better than the other person. It's kind of like when when you don't tolerate other opinion besides your own. But then you also have to be cautious because what happened is uh, there are in the perspective of things, there are things that are right and there are things that are wrong indeed. So you should always be against things that are wrong. So there's a limit to the things that you open yourself to listen. And then our goal as philosophers is to acknowledge and recognize things that are worth listening and things that are not. We should always be cautious. If we don't listen to what is right, we lose. If we don't listen to what is wrong, that's good. So it's always important for you to have a spirit of observation and measurement. Is this right? Is this true? Does this make sense? No, it actually doesn't. So then go somewhere else. So it's important to recognize and to have this capability to distinguish, which can also be subject to perspective. However, um, it's also very, very important to be aware of all the multiplicity that there is, to be aware that there's actually one truth, not many, and that we should be open to listen, but we should also be very cautious because not everything out there is true. Like you listen to some people that say the earth is flat, you can listen to that, but we already know it's a globe. But that's just an example. There are many other examples that we can bring forth, like many other things. So the life of a philosopher is observation, right? Just like Socrates said, a life without observation is not worth living. Making twists to how much you know and applying it to real life, and bring a world civilization of people that think and that are capable of making the right distinction, right distinguishment of separating right from wrong, and be able to be successful in that distinction. So here we end this video about the importance of hearing, listening, and having a greater, or how am I going to say, being more open-minded with caution. Thanks for watching.